Yeah, so I'm gonna have to start off this video with a disclaimer that I am not good at this game, so if you're here for amazing Fortnite gameplay, all the building and all that crap, and just getting all these kills, you've probably come to the wrong place because the clips in this video, the gameplay, is very embarrassing. But I figure, you have all these Fortnite experts, all these people who are building all these elaborate structures, and they're killing, they get 10, 20 kills in one game, and then they're beasts. There are also people who exist in the video game community that are pretty shitty at video games. And I am going to make the video game community very inclusive, and to make the YouTube community inclusive, I am going to share my awful gameplay. So if you are embarrassed by your terrible skills, this video will not only probably make you feel a lot better about yourself, because I don't think anything could be worse than than some of the stuff I did in this game, but also that you're not alone, that there are terrible gamers out there. We just don't get enough representation, because who wants to see shitty gameplay? But this video is going to be more about my opinion on the Epic Game Store, so if that's really what you're into, then you've come to the right place. And if you want to see embarrassingly terrible gameplay, then that's another added bonus. So let's get on with the video. The Outer Worlds is exclusive to Epic Game Store. Oh man, the internet shitstorm is about to begin. What do you guys think about the Outer Worlds coming exclusively to Epic Game Store? It's going to be time exclusive, I believe. It's also going to be on the Microsoft Store as well. So they're really just cutting Steam out. I think for a year after it comes out, it'll be on Steam. But considering that a lot of these hardcore PC gamers really do not, they love Fallout and they love Obsidian, but they absolutely hate the Epic Game Store, the Microsoft Store. And I find this very interesting that Microsoft is pushing to get games exclusive on their store, or at least to have it not on Steam, yet they're also putting Halo Master Chief Collection on Steam. So I'm having mixed signals about what Microsoft's planning on doing with PC gaming in the future, because it makes no sense if they really want to build up this store to put their games on other platforms, or even if it's on PC, to put it on Steam, which is supposed to be competition. It's weird, very weird, and it makes absolutely no sense. I know CD Projekt Red does that with GOG, but Microsoft seems like they're really trying to push into PC gaming, and it makes no sense for them to do that. But as far as the Outer Worlds is concerned, a lot of people are already pissed off at this, because, like I said, they're hardcore Obsidian fans, and these are like some of the most hardcore PC gamers that are absolutely obsessed with Fallout, and they love New Vegas, and they love all the other games that Obsidian has made. And a lot of people are saying, I love Obsidian, but I cannot buy this game because it's on the Epic Game Store exclusively. Now, exclusive content is, as much as people don't like it, it's, when it comes to competition, you gotta have it. Especially, like, think about it. If Epic Games and Steam had the same exact games, like, okay, for example, Valve does it. You don't see Team Fortress 2 on GOG. You don't see Team Fortress 2 on the Microsoft Store. You don't see all these other Valve games on other game stores, unless you want to talk about those third-party stores like Green Man Gaming and all, those ones that are kind of serving as middlemen, G2A. But for the most part, Valve, they have their games exclusively on their platform. They do release their games on other consoles. They had the Orange Box. They even released CS:GO for the Xbox and the PlayStation. So, it's not so they are willing to branch out to other platforms, but you don't see Valve putting their own first-party games on other game stores. So this is Epic Games' way of competing, except Epic Games, the only game that they really have out is Fortnite. They are the creators of the Unreal Engine, and they do hold a lot of weight in the gaming industry, so it makes sense for them to try to make their own store and try to, to try to compete with Valve and Steam. But I think the problem that a lot of people have, from my understanding, is that the way that they do business, because PC gamers are the PC gamers and people in the PC gaming community, they're the first ones to tell you that they hate exclusives. They absolutely hate it that The Last of Us, that Uncharted, that these games are exclusive on a PlayStation. You need to buy a PlayStation or a console in order to play a game that would be so much better on PC, the uncapped frame rate and all that other stuff. And it limits the potential of this game by not having a PC release. And it just makes no sense for them to have to buy a $400 console just to play a few games like Spider-Man that they would like to play but can't play because of that barrier. So PC gamers, like I said, are the kind of people that are going to say, hey, we don't like exclusives. And it's no different with the Epic Game Store. They don't want that exclusive crap, what they consider to be a bad business practice, to be included in the PC gaming ecosystem. Like they see that as a huge problem and not something that they like very much. That Epic Game Store is coming along, and instead of trying to compete in other ways, they try to they buy up publishing rights or distribution rights to certain games. So we just mentioned PlayStation exclusives. Quantic Dream, the people who made Detroit Become Human, which came out early last year, the middle of last year. It was a pretty big game, sold a few million copies. And then of course Heavy Rain is probably the most well-known thing that they created. And they also made Beyond Two Souls, which people kind of had a mixed reception towards. I personally liked all of those games pretty equally. I always think Quantic Dream comes out with good stuff. Coming out on PC, these games are known as being PlayStation exclusives. I guess the contract with Sony ran out or something, because Sony wouldn't just let them do that. I know that. So I guess something, the contract with the exclusivity contract with Sony probably went out, and they wanted to branch out to other platforms. So these games are coming out on PC, which a lot of people are going to be excited about. Oh, but it's exclusive on Epic Game Store. Oh boy. Oh, a lot of people are really not happy about this, because these are games that people wanted to come out. A new game from Obsidian and PlayStation exclusives coming to PC. But there are so many people who would rather just not play the game at all. If they announced Red Dead Redemption 2 was coming out on PC, but it was exclusive to Epic Game Store, so many people who are just clamoring to be able to play these games from Rockstar. The first Red Dead Redemption game is still not out on PC, and it's been almost 10 years. So, these are games that people always wanted to get a PC release. You wouldn't catch these people dead with the Epic Games Launcher installed on their computer. They are so hardcore anti-Epic Game Store. And while I do tend to be the kind of person that's just, always saying that competition's a good thing, I have always said that exclusives are a great thing for the gaming industry, but usually that is when you have a first-party studio, and you have these companies like Sony, for example, pumping out so much money into these games and just making sure the game is just of great quality to make it exclusive on that platform in order for people to care about buying those games. So Microsoft had their first party games, and most of them were trash. But Sony made sure they were good, and these are critically acclaimed games like Uncharted 4, like The Last of Us, and I'm sure Last of Us Part 2 will also be a critically acclaimed game. Like, you always expect high quality content from Sony, because they have that incentive for you to buy their console in order to be able to play those games, and for you to get into their platform, if that makes any sense. Because they put all this money, all these resources into developing these games, not necessarily so the game becomes successful. It's so enough people buy the console that it garners interest in the platform, and you end up buying a PlayStation 4. You end up buying a lot of games on the PlayStation 4. Not necessarily exclusives, but third-party games. That's where most of their money comes from. But they need that exclusive content to get you in on it. And it's very smart business. It makes the most sense. Even Google, with their new streaming service, they have first-party studio and exclusive games that won't be anywhere else. It's just good business. But the problem I have with where I start having an issue with it is when you have these exclusivity contracts. Instead of actually trying to build a platform that people actually want to use, like Steam and Discord, for example. Discord's another one. People love using Discord, but they weren't forced into using it. It's because of the features and the chat and all these great features that the platform has, and it's overall a good platform, a good gaming platform. Epic Game Store does not have any of that. It's kind of like you feel like there's a gun pulled to your head, and you're kind of forced to do it, not because you want to do it, so people get pissed off. And it makes sense. Like I said, I do think that there may be a little bit of overreaction on the part of some people when it comes to the Epic Game Store, because they feel like the needs and desires of the developers are taking first place over the needs and wants of the consumers. And Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic, has said it himself. Like, this is the developers' platform, not that of the consumers. So, hey, are the consumers going to respond and just boycott these games to the point where, hey, a couple years from now, these games will just all end up on Steam and they're not even going to dare to have an exclusivity contract with Epic Games, because even though Epic's given them so much money, the overall sales and the overall interest in these series will deteriorate so much that they're going to have no choice but to go back to Steam. And this might very well may happen. I do not see Epic Game Store becoming a mainstay in the PC gaming market. I think Discord has a good chance because, again, people like using Discord and people love using it, and it has all of those features that are just so unique. But I think ultimately, look, Fortnite's going to run its course one day. It's not going to last forever. I know it's this hot thing right now. It's been dominating the video game industry for going in 2 years, but one game isn't going to last you very long, and I don't think they're going to come out with anything else, Epic Games, to really make people want to buy, to use their launcher. They were able to get people to, because Fortnite is such a huge part of pop culture, and it's just everywhere you see Fortnite, the kids doing that stupid dance, and it's just become a huge part of pop culture now that Epic Games is able to use that influence a little bit. But like I said, eventually Fortnite is a trend, right? It's going to eventually run its course, and no matter how many exclusivity contracts they sign, people are going to stay loyal to Valve and loyal to Steam, and they're not going to want to use the Epic Game Store. I'd imagine that the PC version of Metro Exodus isn't doing as well as it would have if it was on Steam. I know they're getting all this money from Epic Game Store, so that's why they did it, but overall, like, short-term gain, long-term losses, and I think eventually these studios are going to realize this. Even if it benefits them in the short term, in the long term, consumers are going to go against them going on forward, because they're going to be pissed off that this game is exclusive to Epic Game Store. They weren't able to play it, and they were kind of forced into downloading a launcher that they don't. There are also some security concerns that they don't want to be forced to use this. People think it's just like a spyware program built by the Chinese government, the Epic Game Store. So we'll see how Epic Game Store does, but I really don't think this is a long-term thing. I think they're trying to compete with Steam, and hey, competition's always a good thing, but I'm kind of starting to see the reason why people have such a problem with it, and because of those reasons, I don't think the Epic Game Store is going to last very long. I think what's Epic Game Store's expiration date? I say whenever Fortnite runs its course, that's when Epic Game Store will die, because like I said, you can have all these contracts, but most of these contracts are timed exclusive, first of all, and you have other people who, even if it wasn't timed exclusive, they're not with the Epic Game Store, and even if the Epic Game Store tries to build up its platform, it has the wrong message. It takes the developer first, the publisher, developers, their interests go first, like not having reviews and not having all that stuff. And look, the PC gaming community is a very big community, and they are community, and they care about these kind of things, like being able to have their voices heard. That's why people prefer the PC platform over the closed experience of a console where you don't really have much influence on what goes on, and people feel like they're being silenced with the Epic Game Store, that their voice doesn't matter. The media and all these other people are going completely against the interests of the consumers, the developers, and whether it's the AAA publishers or the indie developers. They are just saying, we don't give a shit about what the consumers think. We're just doing what's best for us. That's what they're doing when they sign those deals with Epic Game Store, and a lot of people aren't happy. So that's why I think eventually, maybe it's not going to be anytime soon. But like I said, as soon as Fortnite's dead, this Epic Game Store is going to be dead, honestly. And Epic Games is still going to be fine. They got the Unreal Engine, and I'm sure they're going to have some other good stuff in the future. But as a PC gaming distribution, I don't think that their foray into that business is gonna end up so well for them. But let me know what you guys think. Do you like the Epic Game Store? Do you love it? You don't see the big deal with these with the Quantic Dream games, and with Outer Worlds, and a few other games were announced, but those are the two biggest ones that I could think of. What you have a problem with the Epic Game Store? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I appreciate your insight. and I always enjoy reading the comments. And thank you again for watching this video. I always appreciate, even if whether it's 50 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, it makes no difference to me. The fact that there are some people who take time out of their day to listen to what I have to say, it really means a lot. So thank you all for watching, and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.